Welcome to Blade HQ, everybody. Today is November 3rd, 2025, and we've got a ton of new knives to talk about and some interesting new sharpeners to talk about at the end. But before we get started, this video is sponsored by Kansept Knives. And before I hear it in the comments, it said Concept. I literally asked the people at the booth how it was said, and they said Kansept, and I'm going to go with it. This is a very special brand, though, because they make a lot of really interesting knives that are also very usable and something that you might want to carry around and use for yourself. But they do it at a very reasonable price as well. And this one's just a nice karambit style with a nice deep slicing belly. This one is just a great knife. I could almost see it like a crossover tactical hunting knife, which is something you don't often see too much of. Comes with a nice Kydex sheath right out of the box. And honestly, the pricing on all Kansept knives is very competitive and sometimes downright ludicrous how they are charging the pricings that they do. Kansept's one of our favorite brands. We love them here at Blade HQ, and we are more than happy to have them as a sponsor of this video. Now, what that sponsorship means is this knife right here we are giving away in the YouTube live today. So if you want to get in on these giveaways, just make sure you join us every Monday at noon Mountain Standard, and we do an awesome giveaway right here on the YouTube channel. Also, I don't want you all to forget about the Continue Mission campaign going on right now. Continue Mission is a local 501c3 nonprofit that gets a bunch of veterans together who bring home the injuries of war and provides them an empathetic group of friends and a ton of outdoor activities to get them busy, keep their bodies healthy, keep their minds healthy, and help them continue their mission. And it is our honor to support them every single year. We have a giant campaign going on right now for giveaways. What you do is you pay $10 to a raffle ticket of your choice. You can find more information at the Blade HQ website. And if you win, you get a bunch of free knives and you support the veterans. It's a win-win for everybody. So head on over and please be generous with Continue Mission. Now, without further ado, let's talk about some new knives. Starting with this one. So Romette Knives sort of bust onto the scene a couple of years ago with gravity knives that are really quite interesting. So the way these work is they kind of look like your conventional OTF, but what you do is you slide this button forward and it opens these jaws. And once those jaws open, it allows the blade to fall open and shut. A very simple and intuitive mechanism. Now, normally the Romette, this one's called the Swordfish, has a very premium blade steel, S35VN usually, or M390, and a titanium handle. However, we have some budget-friendly versions here with these aluminum handles, but don't let the budget-friendly scare you because these still have this awesome carbon fiber inlay on the back, tons of milling, and this particular blue one has a 14C28N blade. That's a very respected blade steel. It's got a lot of toughness, a fair amount of edge retention, and in many people's opinion, one of the best budget steels out there. And the same amazing mechanism that made the Swordfish and Romette as a brand famous. This one's going for $132, so not bad at all. However, this black one and this gray one, actually this gray one's also 14C28N, but it's showing off the Tanto style blade. The black one, however, does have the aluminum handle, but an S35VN blade, so keeping it nice and premium as well, but giving you a bit more of a higher price at $165. A lot of that price comes from the titanium. It's just more expensive to mill, and the material itself is more expensive. But aluminum is going to lighten the whole knife up quite a bit, and it's going to make it a fair bit more affordable as well. This is one of the most addictively fidgety knives I've ever held. I love it. Comes in a few different blade styles, and this blade is 3 inches long. So it's a good EDC size. It's not going to be so big and so bulky that it's going to weigh you down, but it's not so small that you're not going to feel confident using it for some harder work. Romette's a really cool brand, and that is not the last we'll see of them on the table today. Next up, we have the Flytanium Beef. And I know some of you have seen this one before, but this one is special. So Flytanium is one of our favorite brands just because of how much R&D they do. They are always listening to feedback. They are always trying new things, and they are always changing things to make them more customer friendly. They don't claim it's perfect the first time around, and that is what they did here with the Beef. So the original Beef had a D2 blade and it had T6 body screws. Which, by the way, T6 body screws are par for the course. You will find them all over the knife industry. However, people said, hey, you guys are a modifying brand. We love taking it apart. You sell secondary parts on your website. We would love a bit more of a strip-proof screw. So they have T8 screws on all the body screws as well as the pivot. And now we have a 14C28N blade. And for a knife like the Beef, which comes with its bits warranty, so you can basically beat this thing to tar and break it, whatever. They will send you new parts or replace them for free. For a knife that wants to be abused like that, a lot of people wanted something that's a true stainless and quite a bit tougher. And 14C28N is really, really tough. And I think a lot of people are excited about that. And then the other big change that we have is we have new G10 handle scales, and these ones are called the Dark Moss colorway. And this is my favorite colorway of the Beef to date. The Beef's a really good knife. It's a crossbar lock. It's smooth. It just wants to go to work. And for $60, you really can't go wrong. A 3.5-inch blade and a full steel liner. This thing just, you just want to go to work with it. And I really appreciate that Flytanium is listening to the feedback and making it even better for all of us. Next up, we have the triumphant return of the Leatherman Micra. So we've seen the Micra before, but first of all, we have some new Cerakote options. So this one is called the Turquoise. It gives you two different colors on the handle. It's a great keychain sort of thing. Honestly, it is my favorite keychain multi-tool. We also have a restock of the straight up stainless, which is my favorite of the bunch. Now, I will tell you the Micra is my favorite keychain multi-tool for this big reason. One is, most of the time with keychain multi-tools, you have pliers. And pliers are great, don't get me wrong, but at the size they are, sometimes they feel like glorified tweezers. I know that's a hot take, give it to me in the comments. Think about the Squirt PS4 on that one. I love the Squirt PS4, I've owned one, but right now it is in my box because I don't carry it much because I carry a proper pair of pliers on my Leatherman Arc. But I love the beefy scissors you get here. These are really good scissors. They gobble up paracord. They're great fingernail trimmers. They are just useful all the way around. But if you still need access to that precise pinching stuff, it comes with a pair of tweezers built in right into the side. Other than that, a host of useful tools. All of it comes nicely into this little package that sits on your hip or in your pocket or in your keys or however, and for a really good price too. This is go for $49.95. $50 getting you a USA-made multi-tool with some of the best warranty you could ever hope for, because Leatherman's warranty is incredible. It goes for 25 years, and what their whole shtick is, it needs to work when needed, and it needs to be there when needed. And that's the whole reason to buy a Leatherman, because they are going to make it their personal mission to make sure that your tool is working and present when needed, which I really do appreciate. Next up from Ramette again, we have the Infinite Power. And this knife is really fun because it has a little trick that most folders don't have. And that is perfect symmetry for the front, I should say. There's definitely a lock in there that is asymmetrical, as well as this lanyard hole. But this whole knife is symmetrical. You have both a front flipper and a back flipper, so however you want to open it. And then this dagger style blade. I should mention it is a dagger blade, but it is sharp on this side and not sharp on the other. And another thing is, you have a cutout here if you want to use the liner lock conventionally, or you can do it the fun way and just push this button right here, and that will unlock the blade as well. This thing looks so good. Definitely a dressy style knife, but it's also a knife that you can use. You have an M390 blade and a full titanium handle. It's just a good looking grail sort of knife. And it goes for a pretty good price too. For $239 base, and for the fanciest version out there, it goes $290. But it gets you a 3-inch blade of M390 and 4.66 ounces. So it definitely doesn't feel cheap. It's a substantial knife. And it's something that, honestly, yesteryear, you could not hope to get a knife of this good, of this quality for this price. I'm just thinking when I started at Blade HQ in 2019, titanium knives with M390 blades were like the final frontier of grail status, and anything in that realm, you're looking 300 plus. But here, $290 gets you the most luxury version of the Infinite Power from Ramette. And I think that's a really good job from Ramette. And I think it's a brand that you're gonna see a whole lot more of, because they are very good at delivering design quality, material and build quality, and value. But speaking of brands in that same realm, we have a new one to talk about in the form of Geoknife. So Geoknife is a new brand. I believe these are also made in China, but they are really, really good. Let me tell you the specs of this knife right here. This one is called the Ethereal. And this one has an M390 blade, a full Ultim handle with a nice milled texture in there, and a crossbar log riding on washers. Now, think in your head, what is a reasonable price for a knife like this? And I guarantee you the number you came up with is greater than $87.20. You can get this thing for less than $90. What an incredible deal. Once again, this is a brand that is brand new on the scene, and they are coming out swinging with this kind of value. And I really appreciate that, because despite what Taylor Martin may say, I believe that right now is the best time to be getting into knives, because this is such a cool knife with specs that you could only dream of just 5 years ago, and it is less than $100 in 2025 dollars. So very impressive from Geoknife. But if you want to take it a little bit fancier, they have plenty of stuff. This guy right here is called the Phantasm, and it has a titanium handle all the way through and a 4-inch Wharncliffe blade of M390 and an absolutely buttery drop shut style action on a very nice crossbar lock. And this one is a little bit pricier. It goes for $207. And then there's also a few others like this guy. This one's called the Blaze. It's got a really fun Tanto blade. This one just wants to go to work, but still titanium M390. And a very good price on the Blaze as well. This one goes for $159.20. So about 160 bucks gets you this. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of knives in this like 3-inch blade crossbar lock everyday carry style knife in the $160 price point, and this guy's bringing a lot of value and will be a real disruptor over there. And then the last of the Geo knives we have on the table today is this one. This one is called the Sharp Shadow. Once again, an M390 blade and a titanium handle. This one's all blacked out. It goes for $223.20. Geoknife is a knife we will see a lot more of. They are coming with a lot of quality and a lot of value that is going to be quite competitive for a lot of the establishment knife brands out there. Thank you, Geoknife, for involving Blade HQ in your journey. Next up, we have the Riot Exo Minis. This is another knife you've seen before. This is the smallest of the Exo series before you start getting into the Exo U's. But this one has a Nitro V blade on it. So Nitro V is another one of those more budget steels that is very premium by standards of 5 years ago, but you can get at a more affordable price point today. And these aluminum handles, these are Blade HQ exclusives. You can see the Blade HQ shield in the little stop block in the handle there. These blades are 2.6 inches long, and a nice, like the handle's probably 3.5, 4 inches, so it can definitely fit a full-size hand on there, but it's not a huge blade. It's gonna be great for your everyday carry tasks, and what I would use it for is just this incredible fidget factor. One of the fidgetiest knives in the business. I love the Riot Exo, and the Exo Mini might just be the most everyday carry friendly. We also got a lock here, so it's not gonna open in your pocket, and a reversible pocket clip for all you lefties out there. It's a fun knife, and Riot did a really good job, and I think the price is great at $119.95. So 120 bucks gets you one of the fidgetiest knives in the business with a really great blade steel as well. And then the last knife on the table is from Vosteed. So this is the Psyop you know and love. This is the full-sized one with the 3.5-inch blade. And these ones are exclusives with this Purple Haze fat carbon fiber handle. So what that means is this carbon fiber is like a marble carbon fiber, but some of the resin that hardens it is dyed this fun purple and red in there. And then we have a matching purple backspacer and pivot collar on these just to really bring it home. But other than that, it is the same Psyop you know and love. That wonderful top liner lock, that super crispy action. This thing, oh, they did a really good job. Vosteed's one of our favorite brands, and they have been on their game the last couple of years, and we are very excited to see the things they come out with next. These will set you back $300, and they're just all-around great knives. And then lastly on the table, we have these fancy new sharpeners from Wicked Edge. Now, I hear what you're thinking. Wicked Edge is known for the great big dual-handled fixed-angle sharpeners, which by some estimates are the best sharpeners in the game, especially if you go look at Project Farm. Boy, does he love him some Wicked Edge. But this is their sort of field sharpener that you can take with you. There's a version, this one, it is called the Venture. And there's also the Venture Pro. Now the big difference is the Venture Pro has a full metal frame, and once you pop this thing out, this part, the stone, flips internally, which is kind of fun. But the way this works, and I'll show you on the cheaper one over here on just the Venture, is you pop off this guide and you bring it to the top. And then you grab your knife. I'll grab my TKEL Night Stalker. And what you do is you bring this to the side and you just put your knife in. And then you can just do this. And that way you hold your edge perfectly at the angle for the entire sharpening sequence. And you get the whole sharpening job done. And you basically can't mess up, which is sort of the big perk of a fixed angle sharpener, but here you have it on a much more simple thing. And then you can pop this guy off, pop the stone around. Once you have your edge sharpened to your desire, pop your stone back on, and guess what? Now you are honing your blade at that same angle. And once again, you can't mess up. You can't get out of place. It's just gonna be a great sharpening experience when you're done. Flip it over, you have yourself a strop, polish that edge up, and this one was already pretty dang sharp, but it's sharper now because I've used the Wicked Edge. It's a really interesting mechanism, and I really appreciate how simple and not complicated it is to use. You can just put this thing, put your hand in there, sharpen until your knife is sharp, and you're on your way. And it's super safe and it's super easy. So it's gonna be a really great thing for you adventurers out there who don't want to spend all day in the shop sharpening their knife, but do want a sharp edge in the field. So pick one of these up. I would personally go with the cheaper one, just the regular old Venture, just because of how light it is. You can throw it in the pack. But if you want a bit more utility out of it, the Venture Pro is available. The regular Venture goes for $40, the Venture Pro goes for $180. You can get all of these now at BladeHQ.com. Anyway, that is all we have on the table today. Let us know in the comments, what do you like here? What other knives were new that should have been here that weren't? Love to hear it from you. You want to see any of these knives? Links in the description, and you can find them all at BladeHQ.com. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next time.